Well, thank you very much, Eric. And first of all, I want to apologize to everybody for not being able to be there in person with you all, but I do appreciate the opportunity to present this information to you in a virtual setting. So again, thank you for that. As Eric indicated, Florida State University is located in Tallahassee, Florida. We consider ourselves an urban campus as much as Tallahassee is a city. Because we are located downtown, we're only about a block away from the Supreme Court, 2 blocks away from the state capitol. So we do consider ourselves an urban campus, so to speak. And you can see our enrollment and employee numbers there, and we're a relatively dense campus. We're actually running out of space on our main campus for construction, so we're actually demolishing buildings and building up on the same spot, just going higher and higher, like many schools are doing these days. So we are a bit of a landlocked university. Well, to give you a little bit of a background, Florida State University is a public institution in the state of Florida. We are one of the largest in Florida. We do have a full campus safety and security department, which includes a police department with fully sworn officers. So no security guards for us. We got the real deal. And in many regards in our community, they are considered experts in some areas like DUI and sexual assaults. Also in campus safety is our emergency management, transportation, parking, and our cameras and access control systems. So we're all one big happy family in the FSU campus safety group, and that'll kind of come in here in just a moment as far as our roles and responsibilities. Just after 9/11 occurred, Florida State University started to take a look at and invest in its alert system. So the predecessor to what we call FSU Alert today actually dates back to 9/11 in 2001. And like many institutions at the time, that was pretty much limited to a broadcast email system, which was extremely slow and dated and took hours to run. I was hired in December 2006 as a result of the infamous hurricane seasons in Florida of 04 and 05. Our university decided that they were pretty much done planning for a miss, and we needed to start getting prepared to actually be hit by a hurricane and other types of emergencies. And one of my priorities when I got to Florida State University was to establish what we now know as FSU Alert, Emergency Notification and Warning System. We implemented some new modern technology. We started incorporating things like text messaging and siren systems. And the system was actually formalized in the weeks just before the tragedy of Virginia Tech in 2007. Ever since then, our goal has been to, not just grow the system. As you'll see in just a moment, we have a large number of delivery methods. It's not that we're trying to get a big record number. It's the fact that we actually do an analysis, and a couple times a year we do tests, we do reviews, we do needs assessments. And part of that needs assessment is a gap analysis. We realize over time that, emails and text messages alone don't cut it, because we do have some classrooms located below ground, and students in those rooms know that, you don't get a cell phone signal. You don't get that text message until you actually, pop up above ground into daylight again. So we realized through these gap analyses that we have to introduce more and more ways to making sure that we reach everybody at least once or twice. Studies also show that many people don't react to emergency notices unless they have at least 3 or 4 forms of input. So to that end, when you see the list of all our delivery methods, you're going to go, wow. And frankly, I don't care if you get it 10 times. I just hope you get it at least once or twice to make a difference in protecting you. I also want to mention that these needs assessments and gap analyses help drive our funding processes and priorities. So whether we are using university funds to beef up our alert system, or we've been very blessed to be part of our state Homeland Security program, where a lot of our system has been funded through Homeland Security funding. Having this gap analysis, having this assessment really goes a long way in driving that forward. So as I kind of alluded to, here's our really long list. We advertise currently 37 methods of delivery. And And if we took the time to break those down, you'd realize that we have some that are primary, secondary, and tertiary, and you can kind of see that there with the columns. The ones on the far left are our primary systems. Those are the ones we have full control over. They are quickly accessed and activated, and they're also the faster delivery type systems. Also, as you can see, most of those require very little effort on your part to receive a message. So outdoor sirens, indoor sirens, blue lights, those are things that just happen. You don't have to necessarily go and seek out the message. The delivery methods in the second column are considered secondary because either they're a little bit slower or it requires a little more effort on the user's part to access the message. And then the third column is tertiary. Basically, we acknowledge all the ways that word gets out during an emergency, but the ones in the third column, either we have little to no control over, or they're just really time consuming. So something like a traffic message board takes time to set up, deliver, program. Media, we don't necessarily control what the media says. But when all said and done, even though we have all these different delivery methods, we realized that when we did a gap analysis, and here's kind of a picture of that, and I apologize if it's a little small and hard for you to read, but I'll kind of navigate you around. The most important thing is we realized that we needed to have a primary and a secondary delivery method that is outdoors, indoors, at your side, and at your fingertips. So we kind of have this spreadsheet or table here, and we said, you know, our primary audible capability outdoors is our outdoor siren system. Our primary visual capabilities outdoors are our blue lights. We have about 450 of those units, and we can actually make the strobe lights on them all blink simultaneously. And that's a visual indicator to people that, hey, there might be an emergency message. And then so on and so forth. So as we filled out this table, we started realizing that, you know, when we got to indoors, you know, our indoor capabilities with our indoor voice-capable fire alarms, you know, we have about 25% of our buildings have what we call voice-capable fire alarms. We've integrated those with our outdoor siren system. So in those buildings, you'll get an alert tone followed by a recorded message. But again, that's less than 25% of our buildings on campus. And that's because the rest of the buildings have really old fire alarm systems that are horns only, or we even have some bells still on some systems. And it would be cost prohibitive to update or upgrade those or replace those to the tune of millions of dollars. So we really had to find another way of filling in that gap for those buildings that have classrooms, have people, but don't have that indoor siren system. So that's where we turned into Alertus as our solution. Alertus filled that gap for us. So with the Alertus desktop notifications, that provided a viable alternative solution for visual notifications in our classrooms. So for our desktop alerts, the first group that we went to were all the classrooms on campus that are part of our what we call our technology enhanced classrooms group. These are general purpose classrooms controlled by the registrar's office. They all have computers, they all have screens, they all have projectors. And those are the ones that we went to and installed the desktop alert. So as long as that computer's online or on in that classroom, the messages will pop up. Secondly, we wanted a viable alternative for audible notifications. And so in classrooms, in other high concentration areas, that's where we turn to the Alertus beacons. Beacons, of course, they got a visual display as well in the LED lights, but it provided that audible notification. So if you can imagine, in our classrooms, in a number of buildings that don't have those indoor sirens, we have a combination of beacons and desktop alerts. So the key thing is that we conducted that analysis, we found the gap, we clearly identified a need, and from that we were able to justify it as a funding priority. So in turn, we turned around and secured grant funding for the Alertus desktops and the beacons. Part of the whole process was integrating with our IT network. Now, Florida State University, being an old university, has a lot of legacy issues with our IT infrastructure. First of all, we are a very decentralized IT infrastructure. So while we do have a central IT organization, a lot of the colleges and departments and entities on campus still have some autonomy and authority over their own computers, their own networks, their own servers. So part of the challenge we had is to, kind of sell this to all the different units and departments on campus as being something that they wanted. And it actually took a little bit of time. The sales process took a few months because people were leery. How is this going to impact our computers? Is it going to slow things down? What's it going to do to the network? And as the word finally started getting around, we finally got up to the point of 1,800 machines on campus currently have the desktop notification client. It is available across the board to any university-owned or managed computer. We originally had a plan to possibly post it on the website and make it publicly available to students, faculty, staff, parents, but we understand that there's some server limitations with them, and we're not quite prepared to go there. Got a little bit of breaking news. Actually, just found out the other day that effective November 1st, our central IT organization, which packages software at an enterprise level. So for example, even if you're the College of Business, if you want Office products on your computer, if you want Adobe products on your computer, if you want browsers, all those things you get from our central IT organization as part of a software package. Well, the Alertus desktop client is now part of that package. It's not an option, it's mandatory. So pretty much, unless you're going out and buying software independently, you're now getting as part of the software package here at the university. So we actually got word that about 8,000 new clients will be coming online within the next few weeks, and they'll put us right at about the 10,000 desktop client mark. The other thing that's kind of unique here at Florida State University is that we have what we call the easy button. Literally, we have one button that does it all. We have a number of pre-recorded messages that, in the event of an emergency, these are pre-recorded. You can't customize it. You can't, change the script. Our goal is that when seconds mean the difference between life and death, we can literally hit one of these buttons, and within 3 to 5 minutes, most of our primary and secondary delivery methods will deliver the message out there. So our Alertus, our desktop notifications, and our beacons are integrated with the system. The system, or the integration itself, is by Siemens. But literally, as you can see the picture there, you open the door, hit the dangerous situation button, and I would say the Alertus side of things is actually within a minute or less. Our records show that from the moment you hit that button, it takes up to, but usually not more than 1 minute for all the desktop clients and the beacons to sound. So we've tested this a number of times. We do analyses, but we actually had a real-life incident. Many of you may recall that in November 20th, 2014, we had a shooting at our Strozier Library. And the situation unfolded so quickly that, literally when seconds mean the difference between life and death, the situation in terms of the threat was actually neutralized within about 5 minutes from the first gunshot. But our easy button was activated that night, and within 10 minutes from that first gunshot, everybody and everything had received the alerts. So text messages were done, emails were done, desktops were done, beacons were done, everything within 10 minutes. And I know when you're a victim of one of these incidents, even if you're that first gunshot victim, you wish you had warning a little bit faster. And we're all trying to shave off the minutes and seconds as much as possible, but still, the fact that we were able to get out that dangerous situation alert within 10 minutes of the first gunshot was pretty phenomenal. And I wish I had a picture for you, but we had a number of people remark that when the alerts went off, the libraries is actually one of our biggest constituents for our desktop alerts. And as we all know, libraries are more computers than they are books these days. And it was actually an impressive sight because all the computers in the library popped up with the desktop alert. And I wish I had a picture of it, but I'll just have to describe it to you. If you could just imagine rows and rows of computers with the same alert as desktop alert. So this is basically not just a theory. We've proven this out in reality in a real life situation in plenty of exercises and tests. We're very happy with the technology and how it's filled in that gap for us. And we continue to add more desktops and beacons and such as we go along. So that pretty much wraps up my presentation. I'm open to any questions or follow-up that you may have.